For most of your 30s and 40s, your skin did something quietly remarkable every night. It produced its own oils. Not enough to look greasy, just enough to seal in moisture, deliver fat-soluble vitamins to the layers underneath, and keep the surface intact and resilient through the night. After 60, that natural oil production drops significantly. When you apply aloe vera to skin that has stopped producing its own seal, you are giving it the water without anything to hold it in. The benefit evaporates, the surface dries again, and the deeper vitamins aging skin genuinely needs never arrive. One specific oil mixed directly with the aloe vera before you apply it changes every part of that equation, and that is what we are covering today. Now, before we get there, let me be clear about something. Aloe vera is not the problem. Aloe vera is genuinely one of the most useful plants ever studied for the skin. The gel from its leaves contains over 75 active compounds, including natural forms of vitamins C and E, enzymes, amino acids, and plant compounds that stimulate the cells responsible for producing collagen. It soothes, it calms, it hydrates immediately. It reduces the inflammation that makes wrinkles look deeper than they are. None of that is in question. The problem is that aloe vera is 99% water. Water hydrates the surface brilliantly, but water-based compounds cannot carry themselves into the deeper layers of the skin where the real structural repair happens. They sit on top. They do their work at the surface level, and then they evaporate, taking their temporary benefits with them. After 60, this limitation matters more than it ever did before, because the skin is not just losing surface moisture, it is losing the structural proteins, the elasticity, the firmness that once gave it that plump, resilient quality you remember from earlier decades. The face in the mirror at 65 is not simply a drier version of the face at 45. It is a face whose collagen production has been declining at roughly 1 to 2% every year since around the age of 30. A face whose natural oil production has dropped by more than half, and a face that is no longer receiving the fat-soluble vitamins it once delivered to its own deeper layers without any help from the outside. Rebuilding those things requires something water alone was never designed to carry. I am Dr. Natalie Brooks, and here is what I have watched happen again and again. People spending money on aloe vera products, applying them faithfully every morning and evening, and wondering why the results stop at temporary softness. Why the skin still feels papery by midday. Why the fine lines still deepen year on year despite doing everything right. The answer is not that they are doing something wrong. The answer is that they are doing something incomplete. And what completes it is a single oil that has a specific and remarkable compatibility with aloe vera, an oil that the research community has now studied in multiple clinical trials and keeps finding visible, measurable results from in adults specifically in their 60s, 70s, and older. That oil is Rosehip oil. Now, I know some of you have heard of Rosehip oil before. Some of you may have tried it. But I want to tell you why it works differently when it is mixed with aloe vera. Why that combination unlocks something neither of them can produce alone. And why most people applying rosehip oil by itself are still leaving a significant amount of its benefit unused. We are going to count down 5 things this combination does for aging skin that aloe vera alone simply cannot, starting from the most foundational and building toward the one that, when I explain it, might make you want to go and mix this tonight. Number 5. It seals. This is the most basic and most underappreciated thing the oil does when combined with aloe vera. Aloe vera opens a channel of hydration into the skin. It softens the surface, delivers its water-soluble compounds, and leaves the skin temporarily receptive. But without something to seal over it, that channel closes and the water evaporates within minutes. Rosehip oil applied over the aloe vera creates a breathable, light seal at the skin surface. It holds the moisture in. It keeps the compounds from evaporating before they can complete their work. Think of it as the lock on the door that aloe vera opened. Without the lock, the door swings back, and everything that came through leaves the same way. This single function alone explains why so many people notice their skin feeling different within days of starting this combination. Not because something dramatic has happened yet, because what the aloe vera was giving them is finally staying long enough to be useful. Number 4. It delivers vitamin E to places the skin can no longer reach on its own. Rosehip oil is rich in vitamin E, a fat-soluble antioxidant that the skin's own oil layer used to deliver to the deeper skin layers constantly during the decades when that oil production was working at full capacity. After 60, production drops and that daily vitamin E delivery slows. The result, over years, is skin that is increasingly vulnerable to the oxidative damage caused by UV light, pollution, and the normal cellular stress of aging. Oxidative damage is what breaks down collagen from the inside. It is what makes the skin look dull rather than luminous. It is what accelerates the deepening of lines in areas that get daily light exposure. Vitamin E from rosehip oil, carried into the skin through the aloe vera pathway and sealed there by the oil's own fatty acids, begins addressing that damage at a level that aloe vera's water-soluble antioxidants simply cannot reach. Topical vitamin E delivered through a well-absorbed oil has been shown in skin research to reduce the visible markers of oxidative damage and restore some of the surface luminosity that most people associate with younger-looking skin. The glow that is often attributed to youth is frequently simply the glow of skin that is not oxidatively stressed. Number 3. And this is where it starts getting genuinely interesting, so stay with me. Rosehip oil contains a natural, gentle form of vitamin A. Now, if you have ever used prescription retinoids for your skin, you know they work powerfully. You also know they can be harsh, peeling, redness, sensitivity, irritation. The reason prescription retinoids cause those effects is that they are highly concentrated and they force cell turnover very rapidly. The vitamin A in rosehip oil, a form called trans-retinoic acid, does the same fundamental thing at a much gentler pace. It signals the skin cells to renew themselves more frequently. Dead, dull cells that have been sitting on the surface, slowing the absorption of everything you apply, are cleared. Fresher, more hydrated cells come forward. The skin looks brighter, smoother, and more alive. After 60, the rate at which skin cells renew naturally slows by approximately 50% compared to your 30s. Dead cells accumulate on the surface in a way they never used to. This is one of the main reasons that skin loses its glow with age. It is not only that the skin underneath has aged, It is that the surface is obscured by a layer of cells that are not being cleared quickly enough. The gentle vitamin A in rosehip oil, delivered through the aloe vera pathway and held in contact with the skin by the oil's sealing properties, begins accelerating that renewal cycle without the harshness of prescription alternatives. Most people notice the first signs of this in the texture of their skin. Before the lines soften, before the deep changes become visible, the skin feels smoother to the touch, more uniform, less rough at the surface. That smoothness is the dead cell accumulation beginning to clear, and as it clears, everything applied to the skin absorbs more effectively. The oil gets deeper, the collagen stimulus reaches further, and the cycle of improvement begins building on itself. This is also why evening application matters for this combination. The skin's cell renewal process is most active during sleep. Applying the aloe and rosehip oil blend at night means the vitamin A is present during the hours when the renewal cycle is running, giving it the best possible conditions to do its work. Number 2. This is the one that most people have never heard explained, and it changes how you think about wrinkles entirely. Wrinkles deepen not only because the skin stops making enough collagen, they also deepen because of an enzyme that actively destroys the collagen you already have. That enzyme is active in aging skin, and researchers have identified it as one of the central reasons why wrinkles progress even in people who are doing everything right with their skincare. Rosehip oil has been specifically studied for its ability to inhibit this enzyme. Not eliminate it, the body needs some of it, but reduce its activity enough that the balance tips back toward building rather than breaking down. When less collagen is being destroyed at the same time that the skin is being stimulated to produce more of it, the net result is measurably more collagen in the skin over months of consistent use. A clinical study tracking participants specifically in the middle-aged to older adult range found that after 5 weeks of daily rosehip oil application, wrinkle depth reduced measurably, and independently assessed dermatological scoring confirmed the improvement. In one participant, the wrinkle score dropped from 73 to 34. These are not estimated or anecdotal results. They were measured with imaging technology before and after. When this same mechanism is active inside a combination with aloe vera, which simultaneously keeps the skin surface calm and anti-inflammatory and reduces the surface irritation that can trigger that collagen-destroying enzyme further, the two compounds are working in coordination. Aloe vera quiets the surface. Rosehip works on the structure, neither of them fighting the other, both of them working on the same goal. If this is the kind of conversation that makes you feel like you are getting real information rather than vague promises, this is a good moment to subscribe to this channel. New videos go up regularly, and every one of them is built around giving you what is actually useful, not what is simply popular. Number 1. The combination, when prepared correctly, does something that neither oil nor aloe vera alone can trigger with the same reliability in aging skin. It creates the conditions for genuine collagen synthesis in the skin's deeper layers. Collagen synthesis requires 3 things simultaneously: a stimulus, the signal that tells skin cells to produce collagen; a delivery vehicle that gets that signal past the outer surface and into the deeper layer where collagen-producing cells live; and an environment at the skin surface that is calm, hydrated, and receptive enough to allow the process to proceed without interruption. Rosehip oil's vitamin A provides the stimulus. The fatty acids in rosehip oil, when applied over aloe vera treated skin, act as the delivery vehicle. penetrating more deeply into the skin than water-based products can reach on their own. And aloe vera, already applied as the first layer, provides the calm, hydrated, anti-inflammatory environment at the surface that supports the whole process. No single product achieves all three at once. This combination does. The 2015 randomized controlled trial that studied rosehip oil in adults aged 35 to 65 found a significant reduction in wrinkle depth, measurable improvements in skin elasticity, and increased skin moisture after 8 weeks of consistent use. Those improvements were consistent enough that researchers specifically noted rosehip oil as a clinically meaningful option for aging skin, not merely a cosmetic moisturizer. Now here is exactly how to prepare and use this combination at home, because getting the preparation right is the difference between the combination working and the benefit sitting on the surface unused. In your palm, place about half a teaspoon of fresh aloe vera gel. If you have an aloe plant, cut a small section, squeeze the clear inner gel directly into your palm, and use it immediately. Fresh gel has the highest concentration of active compounds. If you are using a store-bought aloe vera gel, choose one where the ingredient list begins with aloe vera, not water, and has no added alcohol, which would strip the oil applied over it. To the aloe gel in your palm, add 3 to 4 drops of cold-pressed rosehip oil. Cold-pressed is essential. Rosehip oil that has been heated during extraction loses much of its vitamin A content, the compound doing the most important work. Look for a bottle that specifies cold-pressed and stores the oil in a dark glass bottle, because rosehip oil is sensitive to light and heat and loses potency quickly in clear plastic containers. Mix the gel and oil briefly between your fingertips until they form a light emulsion. The oil will not fully incorporate into the water-based gel, and it does not need to. You are simply blending them closely enough that they apply together. Apply to clean skin using gentle upward pressing motions, not rubbing. Pressing encourages the combination to absorb, without stressing the delicate surface capillaries that become more fragile with age. Cover the face, the neck, and the back of the hands, which are among the first places the oil production loss of aging becomes visibly apparent. Do this every evening before bed. Rosehip oil increases the skin's sensitivity to sunlight because of its vitamin A content. Always use a sunscreen of at least SPF 30 during the day. The evening application keeps the vitamin A working during the skin's active repair hours without any sun exposure risk. In the morning, your routine changes. Skip the rosehip oil in the morning entirely, given its sensitivity to sunlight. Instead, apply a thin layer of plain aloe vera gel to clean skin. Let it absorb for 2 minutes, and then apply your sunscreen over it. The aloe vera in the morning keeps the skin calm and hydrated through the day. The rosehip oil in the evening does the structural work. Morning protection, evening rebuilding. 2 jobs, 2 windows, handled by the right product in the right slot. Give this combination 12 weeks of consistent nightly use before forming a final opinion. The collagen changes it is producing are happening in the deeper skin layers. They take time to become visible at the surface. Most people who continue consistently through that 12-week period describe a change that is not just in how the skin looks, but in how it feels under the fingertips. Firmer, less papery, more resilient in the way it holds its shape when they smile or squint. That is not a cosmetic illusion. That is the skin rebuilding something it had been losing for years. One small change made consistently every evening. That is the whole thing.